That's just the damn truth. And we got a bunch of lazy people. We've got the heaviest country that this planet has ever seen. We've got an epidemic of obesity. Oh, we got the fattest people the planet has seen, and it's on a nationwide level. And you want to tell me that people are starving? Oh yeah, that little 4th grade boy who's only 4'6" and weighs nearly 200 pounds. It looks like he's starving, all right. I tell you what, those who really deserve help, deserve a hand up, I have no problem with helping them. But let me tell you something. I am not going to look at anybody else who sits on public welfare for more than 6 months with any type of empathy or sympathy, not when a vet can't even get the proper care that they earned and deserve. Not going to happen. You can call me whatever you want to call me, but here's the deal. They need to get off their ass and find a job, any job, even if it is working at McDonald's. I don't care. Get a freaking job. I'm tired of paying for lazy asses. And I'm tired of you liberals out there telling me that, I don't really care. No, I tell you what, if you're going to prove to me that you care, how about you take care of the vets? Because they just protected your asses all this time so you can be a total dipshit right now. And look, they're not the only ones. If you want to, there is no doubt in my mind that liberals do not like the United States of America. Obama does not like the United States of America. Period. Liberals do not like this country. They can't stand it. They hate it. And you know what? Here it is, right out here in the open, a town hall story from Vox. The American Revolution was a mistake. I am not kidding you on this one, folks. I mean, when I saw this story, I'm like, this is a joke, right? No joke. Let me read just a couple of excerpts for you. American independence, and this is a story, American independence by the story by Dylan Matthews of Vox. Matthews of Vox.com, VOX. And he seems to be lamenting our independence. American independence in 1776 was a monumental mistake, he writes. We should be mourning the fact that we left the United Kingdom, not cheering it. Of course, evaluating the wisdom of the American Revolution means dealing with counterfactuals. As any historian will tell you, this is a messy business. Now, we obviously can't be entirely sure how America would have fared if it had stayed in the British Empire longer, perhaps gaining independence a century or so later along with Canada. But I'm reasonably confident, writes Dylan Matthews, a world where the revolution never happened would be better than the one we live in now. Let me repeat that. But I'm reasonably confident a world where the American Revolution never happened would be better than the one we live in now for three main reasons, he says. Slavery would have been abolished earlier, so he says. American Indians would have faced rampant persecution, but not the outright ethnic cleansing Andrew Jackson and other American leaders perpetrated, and America would have a parliamentary system of government that makes policymaking easier and lessens the risk of democratic collapse. Oh, he is wringing his hands that our forefathers, our founding fathers won the American Revolutionary War. Because everything would have been hunky-dory, just wonderful, beautiful, great if we had stayed under the British crown of crazy King George, who, by the way, at the time, was taxing the American colonies to death, taking everything that they earned, fomenting all kinds of rules and regulations upon, but that's fine. We should have just dealt with it because we would have had a better government if we did. Right? We wouldn't have had a republic. We'd have had a parliamentary system. The main reason the revolution was a mistake is that the British Empire in all likelihood would have abolished slavery earlier than the U.S. did, and with less bloodshed. Oh, really? He knows that for a fact, does he? I mean, look, the reason why, because of how the Southern economy was raised, was grown, was the reason why slavery was kept for as long as it was. So I'm sorry, but the British Crown would have known, well, we're getting all these riches and wealth from the South and the colonies. Maybe we got to keep slavery for a little bit longer. It was about the economic times, folks. Yeah, there were some people that really thought that blacks were, 3/5 human and they were just animals and that type of thing. But mostly, slavery was about economics. And plain and simple. This alone is enough to make the case for the revolution. Make the case against the revolution, he writes. Decades less slavery, I don't know how he figures that, is a massive humanitarian gain that almost certainly dominates whatever gains came to the colonists from independence. The main benefit of the revolution to colonists was that it gave more political power to America's white male minority. White Americans were in the minority back then? In the colonies? They were the minority. I don't know where to go with that. White Americans back in the colonial days in the 13 colonies were the minority. By the highest estimate, there was only some 4 million slaves, 4 million black people. And not all the slaves were black, by the way, Africans, but there was only 4 million. That was the estimate in the 13 colonies. At that time, there was somewhere in the neighborhood of 30 to 50 million people in the country. But white males were the minority. Where do we find these people? I'm just trying to figure out where we find them. I don't know where they let me continue. Parliamentary democracies are a lot better than presidential ones. They're significantly less likely to collapse into dictatorship because they don't lead to irresolvable conflicts between, say, the president and the legislature. They lead to much less gridlock. So because I don't know, is he saying that we're devolving into a dictatorship because Obama is acting like one? I'm not, I don't know, have we devolved into a dictatorship, full on, dictatorship yet? I know look, I know that there are people who like to try to portray that because of, Obama and all his, edicts via, executive orders and such. But I don't know how a parliamentary system prevents that. Because they're able to issue just as many edicts and regulations and rules, and there's a lot less representation of the people in a parliamentary system, by the way. In the U.S., he says, activists wanting to put a price on carbon emissions spent years trying to put together a coalition to make it happen, mobilizing sympathetic business and philanthropists and attempting to make bipartisan coalition. And they still failed to pass cap and trade after millions of dollars in man hours. In the UK, the Conservative government decided it wanted a carbon tax. So there was a carbon tax, just like that. Yeah, and that's what we should get. Even though we now know that this is, this carbon taxing garbageola is a big, huge scam. Look, if you want to make it, so he's making the case because it's easier to pass laws under a parliamentary system that screw the people. Oh, that's the type of system we should have. You can't make this garbage up, folks. You just can't make it up. And people will say, well, geez, man, you sound angry all the time. No. That the interesting thing is that liberals have been winning, over the past 5 or 6 years, they've been winning a good amount of victories. That back in the 80s and 90s, they would not have won. But they've won a lot. And they seem angrier and unhappier than before they were making getting all those wins. Yeah, and they get gay marriage legalized, and they're not happy about it. Geez, why aren't you happy? Well, because nobody likes gays. Well, that's and so now they want to try to dictate how you think about gay people, because obviously, well now that we have the gay marriage, we're normal now, so you gotta treat us normally. They're not happy about the win. No, we have so much more work to do, says George Takei. They're not happy about their win. You can't make these people happy. We try and we try and we try and we try and we try. Well, we try to stop them, and when we fail and they get what they want, you think they'd be ecstatic, but no, they're even more angry than before. And now you've got some people who are lamenting the fact that we won the Revolutionary War and just decided to become our own country, a republic, instead of a crown, a monarchy turning into a parliamentary system. I mean, this is just it is beyond disbelief. And if you people think that, look, let me be very clear and very blunt. The whole point of this coming up election for 2016 is to totally and utterly destroy the left by voting them out as much as possible. They need to be totally decimated in political power, because these people will not stop until they get what they want, which is a socialistic, fascist, communist type of dictatorship type of a country, where people do what they say that they have to do. Don't doubt me, folks. They may say, like this guy, that, Parliament, it'd be easier to make law. It'd be easier to make law that to subjugate you to the government and to the liberal mantra and liberal whims. If you think it's bad now, oh boy, you just wait You give them a little bit more power, and you'll see what bad really is. These people need to be defeated.